Hi there, I am Lisa and I am the owner of Lollipop Box Club. Today I'm designing with the Lollipop Box Club Make It. I love all the pinks and the greens. It's a really happy kit. So I'm creating a subject that is very happy, and that is one of my daughter's most favourite places to be. Now this is a challenge that's been set over at Lollipop Box Club. Over in the chat group this week we've been having a scrap and chat kind of live scrapbooking session going on at the weekend, and the challenges are continuing through to the week, so everyone has chance to join in. So I thought I would get this done on video and other people can still join in, but you can also still see then how I'm using the kit. Now this particular challenge, we are celebrating 3 years this month, our 3rd birthday, so it is a challenge of 3s. 3 photographs, so I've got my 3 photographs here, and 3 embellishments, so I'm going to be cutting 3 bits out from the embellishment postcard from the kit. 3 circles, I will show you what I've got planned for that, and to list 3 things. Now this is the to-do list for this month's kit, and I'm actually going to take out, or rather cut out, the goals and use that on my page as well. So although this is a to-do list for your everyday organising, there's no reason why you can't actually cut bits out and use them on your crafty projects as well. You don't have to use them as the way they're intended. You can always take a different spin on something and kind of use it in other ways as well. So let's get started. I've got other bits and pieces as well. I've got some of the papers from the kit. I've got the this week planning list, and I'm going to use the bottom there, and I've also got this really old stamp. This has to be one of my favorite stamps. It's a Cocoa Daisy stamp from goodness knows how many years ago, and as you can see it's very well loved. I do tend to paint it, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing today. Now my plan is, I've kind of planned this out a little bit, which I don't tend to do, but I had an idea of what I want to do. So I only want this bit of the list, so I'm just going to cut that out there, and I'll probably end up using that on a different project. I do want to add some paint, but I'm not quite sure where, and I was going to add this as well, but again I'm not sure if I'm going to cut it down or if I'm just going to add all of it, or what I'm doing. Let's pop the photos on here and see how I feel. So this is the Grand Floridian Resort, which is a resort in Disney. It's right next to Magic Kingdom, and my daughter absolutely loves it there. Now seeing that, I'm glad I've laid it out. I'm going to cut it down. I don't want so much of the green on the page. So sometimes it just takes you just to lay things out so you know then where to go from there. And that's so much better. I'm so much happier with that. I do want to add some paint. So I was thinking about laying it over the top, but I don't really want the pink paint. I'm using this pink paint here, the rose quartz. I do want the proper pink rather than the pink over the green. So I'm actually going to be putting it underneath. Now I want the paint to go just underneath and just over, so I'm just going to add some faint pencil marks so I know not to go below those, otherwise obviously the paint's going to be where the papers are right now. I'm using this Dylusions paint. I am making a right mess. I absolutely love this paint. It's so nice and thick. I do sell these on the shop, so I will link them up below. Just going to remove these. I'm not very good at looking after things, I have to say, and I am a bit slapdash when it comes to cleaning off my products and things, and I've obviously got the dry paint all around the outside. Now I'm using an old gift card to spread the paint. I'm just going to dip it in lightly. I'm not doing too much at this stage. I'm a firm believer in that you can always add more, but it's harder to take away. Obviously this area here I don't need to add any because the paper's going over there, so it doesn't make sense. And I am just going to leave that like that for the time being. let's just hold that over, and that's perfect. I don't need any more than that. Whoops, I do not need. That was really bad of me. So this is what happens when you're careless like I am. I'm now going to have to go and print off these photos again. Thankfully I print my own photos, but just to show you, accidents do happen. So I've reprinted the photos, so we've got take 2 on those, and I can now start sticking bits in place. Actually, I was going to put that one underneath, wasn't I? Let's not stick that down, because I'm going to use this bit for my journaling. So I'm going to pop that one there and this one over the top. Whoops, and I've got paint on that. I thought that had dried. And now I can get my photos down as well. I'm just going to be really careful not to get paint on these again. So it's repositional tape, so that's good. I've reprinted the wrong stupid photo off, so I'm going to need to go and print another photo. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to go with that photo with the paint on it. It's not the end of the world, is it? Let's pop that like that. It doesn't go too badly, does it? I think that's fine. So that's that. Let's move the other 2 photos out the way. I am going to be using the goals, and I'm also going to be using the today. I might go with the date, I'm not sure, but I'm going to use a trimmer to trim these down so that the lines are lovely and straight. So I've got the bit with the goals, and I shall pop that on here like that. And I've got the piece with today, which I will also add. Let's pop that down there. And then I will add the date bit here. I'm saying that I've got that bit for, yeah, I think I will add that actually. Oh, and I wanted to paint my stamp, didn't I? I forgot all about that. I'm getting a bit carried away. So let's move on to that right now. I've got a piece of pattern paper here from the kit, which I've already been using, but there's still plenty of life left in it. So I'm going to, I can easily get 2 of those out of that. I like to always have a board underneath. I've been using this one forever, as you can see, just to protect my work surface. And the thing I love about these paints is how thick they are. They're a really, really thick paint. I do love to paint a stamp. It just adds a really nice texture. Obviously, if you've got fine detail, that's not going to go so great. But something like this, where you've got a good amount of space, it works a treat. So let's turn that over. Oops, and press. I did move it around a bit, so I'm not quite sure how good this will be. Worst comes to worst, I can always do another one. Perfect. I love that because it hasn't completely pressed down, and I really like that because that way you get to see the actual patterned paper as well. So I'm just going to do this again because I wanted to, and I'm just going to press that back onto the paper, and perfect. There we go. So these can dry and then I can cut them out. Having an absolute disaster today with the paint. I've just dropped my paintbrush on page, so I've got that as well. I'm not going to clean it up or try and mop it up. It's just going to smudge. I'm not going to replace it. I'm just going to embrace the mistake and leave the paint on there. Right, the 3 circles. I was going to do 3 circles. I'm going to remove these, and I've changed my mind about something. Another paintbrush, and I'm going to do something a bit silly. I'm going to paint the outside of my lid and use this as a stamp like that. I'll do it again. I will be cleaning this afterwards because obviously the paint lid will then dry onto the tub of paint, and we don't want that because I want to be able to open it again. There we go. So that's my 3 circles, and I better go and clean this. So I've actually ended up putting the today sign over where some of the paint was that I've dropped it. I'm not going to include this now, but I am going to cut out the stamped leaves here, and that's actually going to come down and cover some of that. I've got the two that I've cut out here, and I would quite like to use that one there. I don't need to put it all the way down. I am going to be cutting it to put top and bottom, and just a little bit of tape. I don't want it stuck completely down like that. I like the fact that it looks almost alive. How much of this? Let's cut that like that, and that one can go as if it's all the way through there, like that. Do I need this one as well? I would quite like to add this one on the other side, or should I put it there? Actually, let's do that one there. I might just leave it at that actually. Do I need this one? Yeah, I quite like that. I will be going over with pen. Now I need to fill out that, which I might do in a moment. The other thing was 3 embellishments. I might use some buttons. Actually, yes, I am going to use buttons for my 3 embellishments. I quite want to put something there. I might use the quiet time actually, because it was a really quiet resort. It was so peaceful there. It was lovely. Some of the other deluxe resorts that we've been around at Disney, they're quite chaotic, like going to the Polynesian. I think because you've got all the kiddie restaurants, all the places that people like to take the kids, it gets quite noisy. But this one feels a little bit more grown up. So let's pop that like that. And I'm going to add some buttons, and I need to get my black pen. So I've taken my black journal pen, I've added Holly's goals. There was a list of 3 required for this challenge. So we've got Holly's goals, which is to stay in the Grand Floridian at club level and with a Magic Kingdom view. That would be her ideal. And I've used the notes piece there, which I've just noticed I've also smudged. This is going really wrong, this layout today. So yeah, I've just done my bit of journaling there. I've gone around the outside of the leaves with the pen. It really helps it stand out. And I've also doodled around each photo. So I'm almost there with this page. For my 3 embellishments, I've used a little bit of PVA glue, and I've attached 3 buttons on the leaves. I do feel I need something up here, so I need to have a think about that. I don't know, just a bit too much pink at the moment. So I was thinking about adding some bunting. I've got this paper left from the kit, but actually I want something quite delicate. So I'm going to use a mask, a stencil, and I've got a really old set of pastels, chalks, and I am going to add these here. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to feel about this. It's quite delicate, but I've still got that block of pink, so I might have to add something anyway. But let's see how this looks. I do like this. I've used this technique many times. I like it because it is a really soft, delicate way of adding a little bit of colour. Actually, I'm quite happy with that. Let's do another one here. This bit's a bit paler here. I could even go around in the pen if I wanted to, but actually that's much nicer than I expected. Let's have another one over here. So I didn't want the page being too busy, and I really like that. I might add a couple more down here as well. I like that balance when you've got something on one side and then you almost create it for a balance on the other. That here, because 3 is always a good number. There, I'm really pleased with this actually. Let's have another one up here, just a little bit higher than the others. There, and I do believe that's ready. I don't know if you can see the chalks so well. But that is my finished layout. I hope you've enjoyed that today. I will leave the recipe for the challenge below, and I'll also give you the link, so if you still want to play along, the challenge will close on the 13th of May at 11 PM UK time, and there will be a prize up for grabs. So if you'd like to join in, just click the link and come and play. Thank you so much. If you enjoy scrapbooking and challenges, please give me a thumbs up and I will see you very soon. Bye.